My name is Anonymous. I'm a writer, and this is the city that was never meant to be found. I make documentaries about far-off places. My work takes me to some wild, remote regions where I sometimes spend months at a time. I have a great team that helps me with research, logistics, everything. Without them, I wouldn't be able to do what I do. But because of the nature of my work, I'm often alone for months at a time. A few years ago, I was traveling in a very remote region of China. It was the middle of summer, and I was hours away from a major city. I was driving, and my GPS decided to die. It was directing me down this unmarked road that didn't really look like a road. More than a trail, really. And it was taking me further and further away from where I was supposed to be going. But after a couple of hours, the road actually led me to a city. I couldn't believe it. I checked my GPS. It had no name, no coordinates. It wasn't on any map, not on any satellite data. I pulled up in my car and I started walking around. I couldn't see anyone. I walked into the town center. There was a bus station, shops, restaurants, residential buildings. But no matter where I went, I couldn't find a single person. I walked another direction. I saw a group of kids playing. They looked up at me and started waving. I waved back and they all started running towards me. And then they began speaking to me. But it wasn't in any language I recognized. So I just stood there waving and smiling and trying to communicate. And then a woman came out of a building, and she called the kids over, and she began talking to them in this same language. And then she looked at me and she smiled and she said, "Don't worry, I speak English." It turns out that this woman was the mayor of the city. She gave me water and we began communicating. Strangely, nobody seemed to know what year it was. I asked a lot of questions. It was clear that they were hiding something. They were afraid that I would leave and never come back. And in a way, they were right. They showed me where I could stay, and people brought me food and water, and we sat together and we talked. It was the most beautiful place I had ever been. It was like paradise. And I spent what I thought was 2 weeks there. When I finally found my way out, I got to the main road, and I started walking. I had no idea how long I'd been walking. I needed to get to a gas station. I was thirsty and hungry, and I needed to use my phone. When I finally found a gas station, I bought some water and food, and I called my assistant. When he answered, I could hear construction noise in the background. He sounded different. I asked him how long it had been since I'd left the city. He told me 5 years. 5 years. I ran to my car and I looked at my phone. I'd been there for 5 years. How? How can 5 years go by and nobody notice? I drove to the next city and I called my team. They hadn't heard from me in 5 years. They thought I'd died. They didn't know I was in that city. They didn't know anything about it. I tried to tell them what I'd seen, what I'd experienced. They didn't believe me. I even took them to that town. The road was still there, but there was no sign of a city. I showed them the pictures I'd taken. They weren't on my phone anymore. I played them the recording I'd made. It was gone. The city was gone. The people were gone. I don't know what that place was. I don't know how it happened. I don't know why I was there. But now I'm beginning to suspect that I was never supposed to leave. Thank you for watching.